What up, YouTube? Trey here again. I'm working on the GTO today. I got some wheel slop, some play in the steering wheel when I turn it left to right, and I got to figure that out. So I got it up on a jack right now. I'm gonna throw some jack stands under it and see if it's the rack or if it's tie rod ends or what's going on. This is actually pretty common for GTOs. Especially after people do header installs, because you do have to disconnect the rack and all that kind of thing. But yeah, we're gonna kind of troubleshoot it and see if we could get this thing fixed. Okay, so here's the engine bay, headers, homemade intake. I took off the radiator cover and all that good stuff. But so this past week I had checked to see if there had any air in the power steering. No air in it whatsoever. I've bled it multiple times and have no issues with that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get under the car to make sure the steering rack is pretty tight. That is a common problem. If the steering rack is loose, it allows the steering rack to move when you turn the wheel, and it'll give you some play with the wheels as well. So I'm gonna check that. I'm also gonna check the steering knuckle from the steering shaft and tie rod ends, and I think maybe I could do an adjustment on the power steering rack itself. So I don't really know exactly. I got to figure it out. So far, it doesn't seem like it has any tie rod issues, but my steering wheel says it doesn't like it, or that the car doesn't want to handle the way it once did. So we're gonna figure this out. All right, number one thing when you're working on a car, make sure the e-brake is always on. Number two, put the jack in, jack it up, and then make sure it's from a proper lifting point. And then number three, make sure you put the jack stand in there just in case the jack decides to fail or has a leak, whatever. So we're gonna figure out where I wanna put this, which I already know because I've worked on this car multiple times. So we'll slide this over here, move this cardboard out of the way. I'm gonna jack up the car a little bit more. So also while I'm under here, I'm gonna check out the exhaust, make sure all the exhaust is tight. Since you run heat through the exhaust, the bolts like to work their way loose, especially if it's aftermarket. So it's a good thing to check every time you're under the car. Especially with headers, make sure you check the header bolts, make sure they're tight to the head. And then that's about it. So I'm gonna get under here. Sorry to all you BMX people, today is more of a car video. This is my second passion other than bike riding, so this is what I'm working on today. So I'm sorry, I'll have a new bike riding video up very soon, which most of my channel is bike riding, just so you guys know. But yeah, car stuff today. Another note, when you run aftermarket wheels, especially on GTOs and you have a different offset, make sure to roll your fenders before installing tires. So if you guys can see here, I didn't roll my fenders right away because I thought it would fit just fine. These are a 35 offset, but they're 9.5 wide. 9.5 wide, when you get on the throttle, it squats pretty bad, especially on a GTO. So roll your fenders. All right, I'm gonna get under here. I'm gonna check the rack stiffness. I don't know, I'm gonna try to get best clips as possible. Sorry if this looks terrible. But there's a steering rack, you guys see that? All right, I'm gonna slide under there like I slide into DMs. Oh! I believe last time I checked it, it was a 17, but I may be wrong. Or 19. Metric, that's for sure.
Right now. We ain't playing. This is Selection Radio. My name is Joe K. You just tuning in.
It's a 19. Hey, what do you know? Steering rack is loose. Steering rack is loose. This guy right here is loose. So, I don't know how it got so loose, because I just tightened it not too long ago. That one's real tight. This one's loose. So we're gonna put some ultimate pressure on this guy. Hopefully that's my problem right there. Okay, on the steering rack, there's usually 2 bolts. There's a 19. It's a big bolt and a nut up top. It's a 19 on the bottom, and then I don't know what the top is. I don't remember. So I'm gonna figure that out, and I'm gonna tighten them as tight as possible to make sure that steering rack does not come loose again. Okay, I'm assuming it's the 19 up top. Make sure you guys always use the proper tools. It makes life a lot easier. Right now, I'm just using a 19 mil ratchet. 1/2-inch drive, and then a 19 socket with the ratchet end. Makes life a lot easier. Alright, I'm gonna set the camera up. Maybe I get in here good. I don't know. Okay. So I'm gonna try to get some Loctite or something for this, because this is the second time this happened to me, and it's not that cool. It's kind of sucks that this happens quite a bit, and I don't want it to be dangerous for me at all. Even though I tightened the crap out of it last time, which obviously wasn't tight enough. I also need I gotta get a torque wrench, so you know how much torque you're putting on these things. Oh, yep, there we go. We're gonna tighten the crap out of this thing. As tight as all possible. Later on today, I think I'm gonna go get some Loctite as well, just to make sure this does not come loose again. I'm also gonna check the rack lines, make sure they're tight as well. Alright, now I just looked up and I found a new problem. My in-link boot, I don't know if you guys can see that. Hold on. The in-link boot right there. It's kind of blurry, but the in-link boot looks like all the grease is out of it, and it's not working as well as it probably should. The good thing is the car is getting coilover, so new in-links will be in here as well. New strut bearings, literally everything. But I'm glad I fixed that. What I ended up doing was I tightened down the steering rack. I make sure all the steering components were nice and tight. My fluid is topped off, and there is no air in the system. Let's see, what else did I do? I went through the whole exhaust system, made sure everything was tight. Had to tighten up my rear O2 sensor that came loose, and I think we're good. So thanks for following me along with this, and I'll keep you updated on the next time I do something to the car. Thanks, guys. If you guys like what I'm doing, please subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you want to see. I will be doing consistent things to my car, along with a bunch of BMX stuff. I have a bunch of trips planned and contests planned, so you don't want to miss out. So definitely subscribe to the channel. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.